Okay, so from where we left off, we're going to go with Snorlax, who I think is a fat and utter... He's F. I think Snorlax is useless right now. Every other tank is better than him in every other way, and all of his kit gets completely nullified by pretty much everything. If we look at a lot of currently strong characters, they have high mobility or CC immunity. Snorlax got nerfed to where he doesn't do as much damage as before, and his primary goals were keeping the enemy team away from a specific location. Well, they jump around him or they dodge his move. Snorlax is absolutely useless. He fills no niche. He has no role to really fill. Yawn is easy to dodge unless you are CC'd beforehand. But normally when someone picks a tank, no one else picks a tank. His barrier is easy, or his like block barrier thing where he puts up his arms and there's that field that he pushes you around with, is easy to go around. He's easy to kite out because he's so slow when he does that. And we're at Gardevoir. So let's talk about Gardevoir's strengths. When she gets the late game, she hits like a truck. Now let's talk about her weaknesses. Her early game is absolutely god-awful, trash, terrible. The worst early game in the entire game. She can't contest anything. Whoever she's laning with has to pull all the weight. Then she hits Kirlia. Well, it takes a lot longer for her to hit her second form than anyone else, at least as far as I'm aware. I think she hits Kirlia at level 6, and everyone else hits their second form at level 4 or level 5. And even then, she's not very strong. She's a little bit stronger, but she's not very strong. Now we look at Gardevoir's abilities as a whole. They're all skill shot based. Okay, that's not that bad. If you can hit skill shots, you can do really good with Gardevoir, right? Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. But then we look at how much mobility is in this game, and we think, okay, maybe it's not that great. And then we look at how much dive is in this game, and we think, okay, even if she can hit her skill shots, they're still going to get on top of her and blow her up. Well, Gardevoir has Moonblast. She can stun a person and kite them out, right? Okay, fair. But there's also CC immunity in this game. So how can she get away from those people? Okay, well, she has her ult. She can get her shield. Okay, well, if they're CC immune, she can't stop them, and she's stuck in that animation. Then what's she gonna do? She doesn't really have anything, does she? She has good damage, but it's hard to land. And even if you can, for whatever reason, land your stuff, everything she does is fulfilled better by every other Pokemon in the entire game. She is like the Kog'Maw of League of Legends, except she's useless. Didn't have a Gardevoir, you could contest everything a lot easier and make getting the zap way less of a chore. I'm not saying she's trash. I'm not saying she's holding back your team. But she's practically holding back your team. Let's talk about Blissey now. So Blissey is the first support character to be released for the game, and also the first character in general to be released for the game. Blissey is my personal favorite support. She has decent damage if you go Helping Hand. I think that's right. Yeah, Helping Hand, where she gives everyone attack speed and movement speed, and all of her autos for a couple seconds are empowered. And then she has really good zone pushback and a little bit of zone control with Egg Bomb. So if the enemy team is really kitey and you can't really get on them, or your team is really kitey and you're not really a push forward kind of team, she can help facilitate that play style as well. So she's not gonna run in and die by herself. She grants unstoppable and a shield to anyone within the range of the ability. Unstoppable in this game is already rampant and really, really fucking stupid. And she can give it to your whole team. Imagine the Greninja on your team whose main fear is being CC'd and killed can now not be CC'd and killed. Oh my gosh. Okay, now imagine that he's still getting CC'd and killed. You ult him. Now he gets a massive shield, especially if you take Buddy Barrier. You get a massive shield, especially with Buddy Barrier, and half of the damage he takes goes to you. Neither of you are gonna die. He gets to do whatever he wants. He lived through almost if not all of their burst damage. And now he gets to run rampant. A tier. I would put her at an S tier if she could solo carry the game. It is Absol. Absol, throughout the course of this game, has done either really good or really bad, and it's kind of been flip-flopping all over the place. He's not picked all the time because there are certain Pokemon that do better than him, but at the same time, if you can get a lead with Absol, he's unstoppable until late game. And even then, he's really, 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 really strong. I don't necessarily want to put him in A tier, but I'm inclined to put him in A tier. He's like Wigglytuff, where he thrives early game and he just kind of takes off with it, but he can solo carry. So there's that. You know what they say in every MOBA or every game ever? The best kind of CC is death. That's his CC. He just kills you. The end. Now we're on to Lucario. And in my opinion, the best all-rounder in the entire game. By far. Early game is, I would say it rivals Absol. I think Absol's is a little bit better than Lucario's, but not by a whole lot. Lucario in lane can be the biggest pain in your ass since ever. I think he's S tier. His early game is really good. His mid game is really good. His late game is a little bit on the weaker side, but even though his damage falls off, he's still really tanky because of the shield he gets from his ult, and because he has the shield from his passive when he's below half HP, and he will one-shot your entire backline. Did I also mention that if you take Power-Up Punch, not only does he do more damage, he is unstoppable. Crustle is in the same vein as Blastoise, where he's really tanky, and he does a lot of damage, so he kind of gets to do whatever he wants. Well, Crustle is not as inherently OP as Blastoise is. He does take the whole "you can't stop me, nana nana boo boo" thing to a whole new level. Crustle is like that annoying little fly that keeps buzzing around you when you're trying to do something important, and you have to constantly keep swatting at him. He's not really gonna stop you, but you can't really stop him. You know what I mean? Below Slowbro, in terms of how useful he is, but if you can carry with Crustle, but I wouldn't say it's great. I think there's better options. Like, if he's kind of in that weird middle ground where he does damage like a all-rounder, but he doesn't really do all-rounder things, and he kind of does a little bit of tanky stuff, but he can't really do anything when he does play like a tank. He's kind of stuck in this weird limbo state. He's really good at normals, though, where you could just pub stomp everyone, so there's that. Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime's early game is absolutely brain dead bonkers if you can land your wall combo. If you like playing characters like Vayne or Poppy in League of Legends, you'd probably like Mr. Mime. Unironically, again, just like I said with Pikachu, I love playing Poppy in League of Legends, and I hate playing Mr. Mime. Go figure. If you can land your push move, I don't remember what it's called, and you hit someone against the wall, they take double damage. And early game, that's a lot of damage. He can one-shot you a lot of the time. His early game and mid game are really, really strong. His late game, not so much, but his ult is stupid, and I think it should not be a thing. His ult is the only thing that really makes him worth picking for late game scenarios, but the rest of his kit makes him really good for early to mid game scenarios. Is better than Wigglytuff. If you like characters like Wigglytuff, I think he is better. Or if you like Wigglytuff, but you want something with a little bit more oomph, I think Mr. Mime is a good choice. But at the same time, Wigglytuff has a lower skill ceiling. So a skill ceiling for a character is how hard it is to play them. And their skill floor is how accessible they are upon first picking them up. Wigglytuff is like the Ash or the Garen, right, of characters. She's really easy to pick up, and she doesn't take a lot to learn, but she has pretty immediate results upon first picking her up. but he does take a little bit more focus and effort than Wigglytuff. As such, I'm putting him right above Wigglytuff. Again, this is all my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. You are more than welcome to call me trash in the comments. Actually, please call me trash in the comments. It'll help out the algorithm. Did I mention you should call me trash in the comments? Please do. Oh, because I am. I forgot Garchomp. Okay, so Garchomp. When the game first came out, he was really good because everyone played him in the jungle and he got to go past his first evolution, which is utter garbage. Now, where the game is at right now, people just kind of run away from Garchomp. He can't really stick on people unless he ults. And when he ults, he can't use his abilities. All of his abilities need a serious rework, or he needs a serious rework. He can't do a whole lot. So, you know what? I put him at C. I think I'd rather put him at F. Very inconsistent. He takes way too long to scale up. There are better picks for the jungle role, because there's characters like Greninja who just insta-pop off and kill everything and everyone and their mother, and so they're like, let's play him jungle, so we get to that point sooner. So he gets relegated to lane a lot. Well, when he's in lane, he can't farm, he can't do anything, and he gets bullied. Doesn't get to be Garchomp for a long time, and then when he does get to Garchomp, the only time you're really afraid of him is when he ults. Well, your ult takes quite a while to charge up, even if you take all the items that increase your charge rate for your ultimate. And even when he does ult, if you're anyone with any sort of mobility, it's relatively easy to get away from him. If all you have is eject button, though, like Pikachu or Ninetales or something, you're going to die. It sucks, but you're probably going to die. If anyone knows anything about this game, you'd know Greninja is S tier. I'm just going to put him in there. So, why is Greninja S tier? Okay, well, let's look at what was it like in the beta. Everyone was saying Greninja was really strong. Then the game released. No one was really talking about Greninja when the game first released. I don't know why. He was really strong, though. And then, after about a week, everyone was like, holy crap, Greninja's really strong. And everyone started playing him. And then, everyone was like, wait a minute, if we play him in the jungle, it bypasses his really trash early game, and he just gets to one-shot everyone, and no one can stop him. Oh my gosh. And then he took over the game. And then when they did their first rounds of buffs and nerfs, they buffed him. And then when they did their second round of buffs and nerfs, guess what they did? They buffed his clones. So instead of being absolutely useless and everyone took the smokescreen to juke around, now everyone takes the clones because they do damage, and they're still not great for tricking people, but they do damage. So now he just one-shots you even harder. And since they buffed Water Shuriken, it does more damage. So now when all of them do Water Shuriken and you do Water Shuriken, you just die. The only thing bad about Greninja, I'd say, would be his ultimate and his early game. His early game is absolutely horrendous and it's awful, which is why people play him in the jungle. And his ult is, I wouldn't say it's hard, and I wouldn't say it's trash. It puts you in a really bad position because you're stuck in the air for quite a while and it comes out really slow. But you can negate that by taking Buddy Barrier, because you gain a 30% of your max HP shield, and so you're harder to kill. And if you do land your ult, it pretty much one-shots people. So there's that. I think Greninja is one of the better characters. I actually think Greninja is better than Lucario. I think Greninja is better than Blastoise. I think if you're looking for ease of use, though, you go with Lucario or Blastoise. But if you're going for pure hardcore, I'm going to 1v9 this entire game and no one can stop me, you pick Greninja. And you play him in the jungle. Cinderace is my favorite hyper carry in the game, because it is the only character that actually feels like a ADC. And I love playing ADCs in games. I would say Cinder is either the bottom of S tier or the top of A tier. Somewhere around this general ballpark, I would say A+. Cinderace does really, 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 really good if you can dodge stuff, and does really, 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 really bad if you can't dodge stuff. So if you know how to position, and you know how to use Cinder's abilities to dance around, good job. You're going to 1v9 the game. If you can't, well, I'm sorry, you're going to do nothing and you're going to feed. Now, even if you don't do really good and you can't dodge stuff and you die really fast, Cinder still does a lot, or has a pretty good burst build. So there's still that. I also think when they buffed Flame Charge to be on a 5-second cooldown, it's worth taking over Feint. Feint is really good, but I think Flame Charge is better, because it's up 5 seconds, whereas Feint is up 15 seconds. That's a massive difference. And With Flame Charge, you can use it offensively or defensively, because it does damage. It also resets your passive and powered auto. So if you use the Fireball kick from your auto attack, not Pyro Ball, and you Flame Charge, you instantly get to kick the little Fireball again. And I believe this is the last assassin in the game that comes to my head. And that is Cinderace. Or, oh my gosh, not Cinderace. Talonflame. Wow. Talonflame, I think, is A tier. Actually, I think Venusaur's a little bit better than Cinderace. Excuse me. Just because Venusaur has a lot more ease of use than Cinderace. Talonflame is busted. Since the last patch, Talonflame one-shots pretty much anyone, and you can't get away from him if he chooses to chase you down. Probably, I think Talonflame is the best assassin at all stages of the game, other than early game. So, kind of like the opposite of Absol. Whereas Absol is all early game to mid game, and kind of falls off really hard late game, Talonflame is the opposite. Early game is the weak spot, but can still do some stuff, don't get me wrong. But it's mid game to late game that Talonflame really shines, and will one-shot you. Latest character to get added to the game, which is the fairy evolution of Eevee. If you did not know, although I assume you would, because Eevee is very, 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 very popular. So Sylveon, I think, is top tier. Not S tier. Actually, I think just below Ivysaur. Okay, but anyways, as I was saying, why is Sylveon so strong? Okay, so they did a patch just today, which is the 8th of October, a day after Sylveon came out. Now, why would they do that why would they hotfix Sylveon? Well, it's yesterday, Sylveon was one-shotting everyone and their mother, and you actually couldn't do anything. Sylveon evolves at Eevee evolves into Sylveon at level 4. Just like Ninetales, just like Blissey, just like Wigglytuff, just like, I think Slowbro, right? I think so. So, oh, and Crustle. So, evolves really early, so really good early game power spike. Okay, that's fine. Well, what's the issue is that Sylveon also scales really well throughout the entire game, and is really annoying to get on top of. Good healing from Draining Kiss, really good chase down potential with Mystical Fire, and kite potential with Mystical Fire. And if they want to play more defensive, they could do any combination of Calm Mind and Draining Kiss with Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice does mad damage. If you can space Hyper Voice correctly, you will kill everything. And by the time Hyper Voice is done being used, you have a second and a half, and then you could use it again. What gen is Eldegoss from? I actually have no idea. Normally, I can name this kind of stuff off the top of my head, but I don't know where LD is. Is it from... It's either from Alola, or it's from the current region. Is another support character, and the one that everyone first gravitates towards when they think of a support character, because it is a support instead of a support damage dealer like Mr. Mime and Wigglytuff. So Eldegoss at the start of the game was really strong and could help people kind of live through everything. And LD still can, but I think Blissey does everything that Eldegoss does, but better. I'm going to put Eldegoss at a C. She's still worth using. I'm going to put Eldegoss above Gengar. Go above Gengar. There we go. Okay, so Eldegoss is still worth picking. But the moves that make her a support have been nerfed, and they don't do as much as they should, or as much as you would like to. If they want her to be viable again, they have to buff her. Aha! I knew I forgot someone. You thought I would leave you high and dry, but little did you know that I remembered. Unfortunately for me, it's one of my favorite Pokemon because of how goofy it is. It's Cramorant. Poor little Cramorant is absolute dog water. Absolutely trash. The only thing Cramorant had going for this poor little bird was Whirlpool at early game and Surf at late game and his ult. And they nerfed Whirlpool. And then they nerfed Surf. And they keep trying to buff his dive option, but it's not good. It's not good at all. Okay, I forgot one more. I forgot Zera. Zera's S tier. He one-shots you early game, he one-shots you mid-game, and he one-shots you late game. And when all the buffs and nerfs came out, all they did was just left his really strong tools alone and buffed his other options. So now, no matter what build he goes, he just one-shots you. He's really strong. If you're gonna pick an assassin, he's the assassin to go. Pick Zera. Do it. You'll thank me later.